Hi everyone. I hope everyone's had amazing autumnal festivities because it is autumn and yesterday's was Halloween. I find Halloween very scary. I don't really like watching scary films or anything like that. It just freaks me out. I have the news, it's enough. But yeah, and there's a lot of things that frighten me, and one of those things is actually fear. So I wrote a poem about that, about the fear that is kind of spread in the newspapers and through people, and how damaging and scary it is. It's called Creep. What do you do when the fear creeps in and keeps banging on and banging on the windows of our song? When the fear creeps in, what is it that you'll do? What is it that you'll do when the fear creeps in? When it slides and pours right in the crevices once lit, when it conquers all the love collected in our pit, when it tugs on all our instincts and spreads our eyelids out and tethered, when it devours all our roots and leaves our insides leathered. What do we do when the fear creeps in and replaces joy with foggy grout? When words are just in shout, when the fear is so heavy it starts pulling at your mouth. A clanking in the radiator, the banging on, the sound of something wrong, the sound of something stuck, the sound of something wailing. Memories of tenderness are fading and flailing. A puppeteer strings people up, babies who once squeezed fingers in search of kissing petals, showering with tiredness after a muggy summer's day. Ice cream was once happiness, a jug of pickled eggs, an ill-fitting suit drenched with prideful aftershade. Picked first in games. Pebble Dash looked homely, no one wore their skin. Love was more abstracted, knowing less, knowing less fear, knowing less gritted teeth, less daring stares, less chapters and chants of purple face, less being part of a body, born to cuddle, born to hold, being pulled apart by ropes of phobia, getting cold. When the fear has crept, when the clanking doesn't cease, when the colors are all muted, when loathing comes with ease, that is when the frightened flights of adrenaline and the jaggedness of frightened desperation are the pain of all the people. Thank you. How long do I have? Is it 10 minutes? Yeah. Okay, I'm just checking. I don't want to go over. So I started doing poetry about 1 year ago, and it's been because of people like Sean and like people at Spoken Word London and like all the other poets that were on before me, like Sarah, and that I've continued to do this. It's all about encouragement. And that's what I really believe makes people flourish and makes people want to keep doing better and keep doing more. Unfortunately, sometimes when you go out in the poetry scene or anything really, there's always going to be people there for some reason that kind of want to discourage you because they feel that it's going to impede on them for some reason, and everyone's like that. I'm like that sometimes, and it's weird. So I wrote a poem about it because I found that when I first started doing poetry that there were some people that weren't very keen on me, but there are people that, you know, are incredibly amazing. But yeah, anyway, this is about that. It's called Free Poetry. I was under the impression that poetry was free and not shackled by preconceptions and expectations, unspoken regulations of what a poet or poetry should be. Look, I get it. You've got good flow. You've figured out the breathing. Your words have got me hanging on every pregnant pause. I swear I see a glow. But when a girl comes to talk to you, come to say, hey, never knew words could be said that way. And through a pursed mouth, like a cold clam, you say, thanks, and turned away. Now, these are my thoughts only. But when a young girl sits lonely, bearing the strain of shame, faces with no names, coming into a room full of poets, I'm feeling so plain. She has motions she wants to explore and explain, and instead of sitting home in vain, she's braved the wind and the rain to come and hear your poetic pain. Yet somehow your words make you holy, and you see this curious soul as a foe, and hence you're unable to welcome her to your table because you're the one with good flow. I know you want fame and glory, but don't worry, that's what X Factor's for. I'm not keen on X Factor, so you know. All of a sudden, there's no need for your poetry, because the way you act tells a story. If all you want is praise and glory, then in my opinion, you are not worthy of my time or her time or this line. So let's encourage the poets with the trembling hands on pages, the ones who spend ages debating whether their poetry is fateless, the ones who look down in fright, finding it hard to set their words alight. In spite of this, they come and share. They share their souls completely bare. Let's encourage the ones who hesitate, the ones who forget their words and make mistakes, the ones who come to these nights to work out how warm and welcoming is the crowd. The shallow breaths, the bumbling messes, the stammerers and mutterers, the stutterers, the ones reading poems off their phones, the ones trying hard to remember, the ones traveling far from their homes, and the ones writing since last September, the ones speeding through every line as if it'll make it rhyme better, the strange pauses, the short clauses, the ones who are keenest, and the ones with quiet genius. Let's encourage them, because even though we might not understand their ways, their words might seem merely strays, but the courage and initiative to get up on this side of this space, this vulnerable place, so easy to judge and so hard to embrace, that to me is poetry, much grander than some trendy collage you deliver well. Hell, I'd rather see them struggling through. So, here's my advice. Be nice. Be open. Share something in the spirit of free words dancing away on a page. Welcome all you can to this stage, because we all know what a world full of verse sounds like. So why not try a global open mic? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And that's to all the open micers of this evening. Okay, so because it's such a lovely evening and I feel really warm and cozy in here, I'm gonna try something new. So, because you gotta try new things in life, or else you never go anywhere. It's not gonna be perfect, but you know, I'm gonna do it off my phone as well, which is not romantic either, but this is what's happening. We're gonna pretend this is a beautiful leather-bound book, and I'm like, really interesting. Okay, so this poem is about the women that I met this year at Edinburgh Theatre Festival. I had a wonderful year there, and it was the first year that there wasn't an article in the newspaper being like, women can be funny too. So I thought that was really amazing. I saw such amazing stuff coming from women on their own, doing really, really interesting things that just blow your mind. Anyway, it really inspired me. And one day, one of them was like crying her eyes out, and I was literally like, I have to write a poem, I gotta go. So like, I went and I wrote this. So let me know what you think afterwards. These are the women that I've met. These women have tears that paint on paper. These women pass on flowers born in meadows. These women kiss my cheeks with angry, happy passion. These women bring me up and give me hands and winks from behind fans that are alive with 100 nights that have spilled into the morning sleep and have sung rough notes found in seashells deep below the ocean floor. These women cry. And when they do, it is as if all the pent-up tears of men who fear to weep pour down their cheeks, a thundering release. Without these women, Without them, we are an unbuttoned desire, a toxic pressured lump, running without sweat, an ocean not wet, a sun not set, the homogeny of blisters, grotesque repetition. Without these women, we are a sea without fish in. These women have hair, long wavy hair, tangled up seaweed full of iron flare. Their hair is their hair is their hair is their hair. Bushy and warm is their hair, wiry and torn is their hair. Breadcrumbs and cum you will find in their hair. These women have swaying hips that push water into curls of waves, pulling up secrets from the ground. Moving them around brings those who can't be bothered to be found to sound themselves awake and taste the freedom these women make. I have met these women. I have met them in the street, in empty theaters with empty seats, in crowded rooms, and on the beach. I've met them cleaning tables, smiling through the gunge of our cities, packing boxes, making labels, tuning radios, fiddling with microphones that are too tall for them, standing in front of people who expect them to fail, failing in front of people who expect nothing, who expect silence. These women write. They write with their arms and their hair. They write with mops and the empty stares of men. They write with their sisters sewing. They write with letters on the keyboard glowing in the darkness as their blinking is slowing. These women, they write, and they write in order to gently, lovingly, warmly expose. These women write every single night. Some men, those men, the men with the heavy breath and whistles broken, they don't get it yet. Those men, they run away, tucked away at the sight of galloping stars, so lost and so far are those men. Those men suffer. Those men are pent-up lumps of confused and bruised souls. Tied up and angry are those men. Covered in sandpaper are those men. Chipping away at our mothers, sisters, and daughters, as well as our fathers, brothers, and sons, made out of sweet honeycomb beeswax. I have hugged these women, and they have embraced me. Like the sea embraces a paper boat, weight enough to keep me down, but I'm still afloat. They play guitars without knowing a note, for the strings are their sisters. These women have meetings with the moon, and soon they will burn with light. Everything that meets their sight, these women cackle, and each cackle is satisfying to my drums as the warm food these women cook and the caresses of their look. These women are the building blocks of my backbone. These women feel their power with vulnerable moments, as the sun does. These women are the antidote. Thank you. They're really amazing women. So how long do I have? I have one more. Okay. I wasn't planning on doing one more, but I will. What do I do? Okay. Oh, he's looking at me. He knows what he wants. All right, fine. I have to do that. You just have to react. Say yes, everyone.
Yes.
Say yes. Okay, so I'm gonna say yes to a poem that my friend just looked up and he's like, do this one. It's called Where Am I From?
Yay.
Yeah, okay. Good. I'm not American.
Canadian.
I'm not Canadian either. Where am I from?
South America.
Where am I from? 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 There are many answers I could retrieve from the archive of inane letters that are put together that I from conversations leave. Not today, though. Truth is, this question hurts me every time it's sent my way. More people than you think find this true and hard to say. This question lies miles away from me and my journey to this stage. And when I say miles, I mean it in space and time and depth. I know it's just an easy way for you to assess and process differences and similarities between us, whether like you, I know what hummus is or watched Pingu as a kid. But for me and many more, I assure you, it doesn't work like that. It's not that flat. This question is nonsensical. I know it's not inimical, but this whimsical solution, this categorical conclusions of nations is an illusion. Linear ways of thinking gave birth to lines and borders, a way to give some sort of control or order. Like a child putting a line between spaces and places, cutting across togetherness, slicing love, dicing community, cutting off wonder. People's ideas of others in terms of origin are an outdated globe made out of paraffin. Where am I from? I'm from a cell that breathes. Two souls that reach and come away and beach themselves in disarray. I'm from a moment suspended, a grave unattended, love when it's imagined and splendid. I'm from your dirty secret and the difficulty there is to keep it. I'm from oxygen and carbon, these compounds that harden. I'm from up here, I'm from down there. I'm from the moon, and the moment you gave it your full attention, the ring your name has when with love it is mentioned. I'm from the Little Dipper, the Big Dipper, and the feeling you get when you find them. I'm from London and Caracas and Curacao. So, that lush place, perfectly distanced between the sun, between Venus and Mars, called planet Earth. Where are you from? Thank you so much. Honestly, like, having people's attention for 10 minutes is such gold. It's very hard to find that, these days. And just to see everyone listening is, everything that I want. But thank you, Sean, for having me as a feature. You're doing an amazing job, and you should be really proud of yourself. Because creating nights is not easy. And it's hard, and people don't realize, but it's actually like a difficult thing to do. So thank you for doing this.
Woo! I love you, Sean.
And please keep doing this because it encourages other people to come and, and just do their thing and not have to compete, which is what I'm all about. So thank you everyone for listening to me. Next round is the open micer, so everyone be open and welcoming, and big kisses to everyone.